And I think that's really important because it's helped me prioritize myself.
Mhm.
It's helped me realize that this particular thing isn't just something I do for fun. I do it for fun, but it's serving something deeper. It's created like a discipline. I don't a discipline. Like
Welcome, Ali, to the Creative Possibilities Studio podcast and YouTube. I'm so glad to have you here. You're a new friend to me and a kindred creative spirit, and I'm so glad to have a conversation with you.
Yay, thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
the topic that I was thinking about that just kind of related to current events is how to have a creative, vibrant life in connection with others while there is like an era of stress, collective stress going on right now. So how do we maintain that creative vibrant light and life, light and life. So I'm going to start by just getting to know you a little bit. Tell me, I don't know everything about you. I want to know so much about you. So tell me a little bit about you, Ali, and also like the forms of creativity that you love.
Okay, so I am a visual artist. I like to draw. I make most of my art in my sketchbook, so I tend to keep things smaller, but I do enjoy painting too. And I've like painted murals as well. I also do a lot of digital art. I have a degree in media arts and animation, so I am familiar with like the digital aspect as well. I like to create videos, so I have fun with like video editing. I have a YouTube channel. I like to move my body. That's really important to me and absolutely helps with my creativity as well. So I work out regularly. I like to dance. I like to roller skate. I also slow it down with yoga and meditation. So I try to be in tune with my body, and that helps me tap into my creativity as well.
So many awesome things and so many creative outlets, and I love your emphasis on moving your body. And it's not just creativity in a sketchbook, it's creativity in multiple aspects of your life that kind of ripple into one another. Would you say they
Mhm.
kind of support one another, like
Oh,
exercise
absolutely.
helps you get into like a creative flow for sketching or doing other things?
Yes, absolutely. And I find if I'm too much in my head, then I'm like, okay, I'm missing something with like my I'm not connected with my body or I'm not connected with my spirit, and I need to find that balance. And then once all of those things are in place, then the creativity flows more easily and comes more naturally.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, so that body and mind connection is so important to me too. And well, I love getting to know you a little bit more. I feel like there's so many more things about you
I
that
know. I'm like, how do I put it into like a little bite-sized nugget? So if there's anything else, like just feel free to ask and I'll answer.
perfect. Well, I do have a set of questions here that I thought could be
Mhm.
fun. And these are similar to the pillars of the book that I wrote, Creative Possibilities. I have 6 questions kind of related to letting go, tuning in, um, discovering, trusting, and reconnecting with our creativity. So, my first question is about letting go. So, what's one thing that you've had to unlearn or release in order to create more freely? Like, especially during stressful times or times where you feel like stuck.
Absolutely having to let go of perfectionism. There's this idea that as an artist, like we're like our worst critic. We're like, I have to make something that is consumable, something that other people are gonna like. I have to make it be the most beautiful thing ever. And sometimes if you get caught up in that, well, for me, when I get caught up in that, then I don't create anything that's meaningful. I get too stuck in trying to make it perfect, trying to make it something it's not, instead of letting the creativity flow out of me and seeing what happens. Definitely being more open to, when you let go of the perfectionism, you're more open to curiosity and experimenting. And then that's when the magic happens, I think.
Love that magic. Yes. So letting go of perfectionism, 100% agree with you. That absolutely is something that I've trained myself over and over. It's not a one and done thing.
Oh,
It's a
absolutely. Yeah.
continuous process, I find,
It is
like
a
for
choice for
myself.
sure. Yeah.
And like you said, yeah, sometimes creating for a product or creating with an audience in mind is like necessary for artists sometimes to make money, to make a
Mhm.
profit. But when you create for the audience in mind, sometimes it makes it feel hollow, or like the process of doing it isn't as enjoyable for the artists themselves. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely there. I feel like there's almost two parts, like two kinds of creativity. The creativity that I do that feeds my soul, and maybe other people resonate with it, maybe other people like it. But then there's also creativity, like I used to do portraits, and like I would do a portrait for somebody and I would try to find the enjoyment in it, but ultimately it was kind of like I'm doing this for some money.
Mhm. Mhm.
Doing this because, they're going to pay me some money. But yeah, I agree that even in those times, I was trying so hard to think about, okay, enjoy the brush strokes, enjoy like the light and dark of the portraits, and like trying not to make it so perfect, but still like fun for me too.
Right. And I'm glad that you said that, it's like two separate things. And I think, like, as artists, we get so focused, and don't realize, hey, making art for yourself is so important too. And that's the reason why you started making art in the first place, because it felt good to do it, because it was natural, it was fun. And then when we combine it with work, it gets a little more complicated. So yeah, definitely having that awareness, like, am I still feeding my soul when I'm making art, or am I purely just doing it for work, and then it feels like work, and then you're not producing, quite the magical art that you're used to or want to.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a conversation with some other people last night, and I talked about how going back to our roots, like going back to childhood when we just expressed through artistic means freely. Like I would sing songs, I would pretend to play instruments well, and I would dance and I would like draw because I wanted to draw something that made me happier. I wanted to draw my family, or I wanted to draw something that like made me smile. And
Mhm.
like all of those things are a part of me. But then as an adult, sometimes they get a little warped because it's like, well, this is a skill, this is a craft that I have honed. And
Yes.
and so yeah, I, I I I definitely want to let go of perfectionism and bring back that creative child part of me. Um, like that's a conscious thing that I want to be intentional about going forward.
Yes, same. I very much align with that right there.
My next question is about tuning in. So, when life feels overwhelming, how do you tap into your creative energy and stay present with it?
So I feel like that ties into, helping clear my mind. It's very easy for me to live up there. And I mean, sure, that's useful. Like, thinking logically and being intellectual about things has its purpose, but it can overpower the creativity. And so for me, I've had to be really conscious about how I'm spending my time, the kind of things I'm consuming, especially things like, consuming social media, like, which is very, very difficult for me. I mean, okay, I want to rewire that in my brain. It's not difficult for me. I do it for my job, like my literal job that I get paid for, and I'm doing it for my whole thing and like being part of Radical Magic. So I'm trying to be more mindful about how much content I'm consuming, being mindful of it, and not getting sucked in scrolling. That's a big one for me. And then also going back to moving my body, like, I gotta get the energy out there. When I'm moving my body, it helps me stay present. It gets me out of my head. I want to look around at the things. I want to feel the sun on my skin. I want to see the flowers. I want to see whatever signs the universe will send me that day. I try to make it a game, so it's something enjoyable to look forward to. And when I'm in moments like that, then I'm able to be in tune with this, I don't know, the divine, I guess. And so I'm able to create more freely from that place. Life is just more enjoyable from that space as well. Yes.
Connection with the divine. Yeah, it is beautiful to tune out of social media sometimes and get lost in like the scroll and comparison and this and that. But when I tune in, it's a totally different flow. Like it's not a scroll, it's a flow. And I
Yes.
love that. I love that flow so much. So, and I do yoga and breath work as well to just kind of help me just tune in a little bit deeper sometimes because I have a busy brain.
Yes, same. I'm like, you got that air sign thing. Oh, yeah. Mercury rolled as well. So, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I've definitely found that to be common amongst a lot of creative people. We have busy
Mhm.
brains that come up with so many creative solutions and creative ideas. And to tune in, sometimes we don't, sometimes it's kind of complicated because our brain is taking us to fun places, but then tuning in, that's also a fun place too.
Mhm.
So I'm still figuring it all out. I love talking about it though.
Yeah, it's always a work in progress, and it's always a choice you make too, like you said. And yeah, I'm definitely more aware, and I try to sit on that side where it's like I'm choosing to honor my creativity and not my perfection. I'm trying to tune into the moment and really live here, and that helps. That's all just helpful with that.
Well, let me ask you about trust is next. So trusting, share about a time when you had to take a creative like leap of faith and trust that things were going to work out.
Okay, I hope this aligns the way that like I see it in my mind. So at the end or last year, I was working a job, and it was fine. It was like a very like minimum wage kind of like you do your thing and you leave kind of job, and that's fine. But I knew that it wasn't fulfilling me in the ways that I needed, and I was absolutely meant for more. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't stay here much longer. I just know that it's like eating me up inside, and I've been wanting to like do the entrepreneurial thing for the longest time, and I just needed more flexibility. And so it took me a while I realized that. And then it took me a while before I was able to put in the notice at work. And I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have anything. I went to my boss and I'm like, hey, it's my time to go. And like, I'm so grateful for everything you've done to teach me because it's a small business. So there were things that I was learning, but like it wasn't part of my job description. And she gave me a very amazing opportunity too. And so after I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel such a huge amount of relief. I feel like I'm claiming my time back, that I'm able to like, I have more brain space to like focus on my creative things that I've been wanting to do. And again, no plan or anything. And like the next week, my boss comes up to me and is like, hey, would you be interested in managing our Instagram account? And I'm like, oh, what? Like that was a job that I just never thought would be for me. Like I'm like, I was aware that like, yeah, I know there are people that do that, but didn't think it would happen for me. It was not a job that existed with our company at the time. So I was just like, whoa, because I've been writing out that I do want to do more with my creativity, and like without even having a plan, and then that just like fell into my lap. Like,
Mm.
I was like,
But you had to leave the kind of the soul crushing part of the job
yeah,
in order for that opportunity to come back to you. And it was with
Yeah.
the same agency, same company.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. And
that's cool. They valued you.
I
Yeah.
just had this like, I have to do it. I have to honor myself, and I don't have plans. I just know it's going to work out. And it did. So yeah. And, I have more of my time back. I work from home now. I go to the office every now and then. So, and I'm still learning so much, and it just goes hand in hand. I feel like it was like such good timing too because of what we're doing with Radical Magic. I've learned so much about Instagram, being on social media, being able to respond to people. Like it's really built up my, I don't know, my social media muscles, I guess.
Yes. It is
Because
a muscle. Yeah.
yeah, because it's a lot to, if you aren't used to having people liking and commenting and things like that. Like it's a different form of social interaction that I've not experienced at that level. Like we have 45,000 followers on our account. Yeah, so it's like my nervous system kind of needed that adjustment, and I just feel like it was the next step. And then I'm like, oh, it's all like it's just like this fun game that it's
Mhm.
just the next level, and I just know I'm on the right path, I guess.
So it's like pure trust right now, and trust that like you made the right decision for yourself, and
Hmm.
that trust that it's leading you in the right direction.
Hmm.
But it was probably really freaking scary to
It
make that leap,
was.
but you did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like again, like the fact that it had I was able to get that job because my boss noticed my creativity. Like she knew that I could bring something, that I didn't even think that I could. So yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that story. Thank you for sharing. So, along the same lines, so you trusted yourself. There was a huge transformation that happened with the job that you were doing. And along those lines of transformation and transforming, so has your creative practice helped you reshape a personal struggle or turned a challenge into something meaningful for you? Like, has there been a project or something that you can think of that relates to that?
I think it all kind of ties back in. Like my creative practice is make art every day. And sometimes I'm able to do it for like hours, and then other times it's just 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And I, the whole point is that I want to spend time doing this one particular thing. I know it's for me. And by prioritizing that, I kind of like, I gave myself something to look forward to. For one, it's like, okay, this is my time for me, and no one else gets to have this. And I think that's really important because it's helped me prioritize myself.
Mhm.
It's helped me realize that this particular thing isn't just something I do for fun. I do it for fun, but it's serving something deeper. It's created like a discipline. I don't a discipline. Like
I
yeah,
haven't heard that before. That's
yeah,
adorable. I love that.
I love that idea. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, discipline, but it's so blissful. Like you look forward to it. You love doing it. And I really feel like that carried me through like the entire time I was working there too, because of it. Like I said, it was kind of like not my favorite thing to do. But I feel so lucky because I I also like had a there was like a sculpture garden that was right next to where we worked, and so I would walk that all the time. Again, going back with like having to connect with my body too, and and then having my creative practice. I decided to push myself last year too. I did a couple of markets, which was new for me. I made a ton of art. Oh, okay. Here's this one kind of lines up. I made a ton of art of cats in particular. I had a little kitty that I lost last year, and to help kind of cope with that was making tons of art of cats, and that was something that helped me get through that moment. Those moments too. And yeah, I created just so much art just because I wanted to, because it felt good, because
Mhm.
I said I would. And it's really helped. And like I feel like even though I didn't have like a big plan or whatever. I just kind of like made things as when I was able to see the opportunities that would come up, because I was so centered, I was so grounded, and I was prioritizing making the art, that when something came up, I knew that was, oh, jump on that, because that sounds fun and that sounds good, and that actually helped me land a mural at the end of the year last year. So yeah.
You know, you're a muralist too. That's so wonderful. You just said so many wonderful things. Okay, rewind, rewind. So discipline, totally going to steal that. Love that
Yes.
term. And yeah, I think that discipline and that discipline, both of those, it really it sets like the focus needle in a direction of where you want to go, and it helps you kind of see the path unfold. I was definitely caught in a cycle of like, oh, I want to make art. Oh, I didn't. And then I beat myself up over it. And I felt guilt and shame because, oh, I didn't make art, but I wanted to. And like something did shift. Like I recently did lose a dog, pet that I love. She was such a sweet little baby. And I felt myself like needing to express more and needing to just draw more. Like we knew for a while that she was getting older. And so I just like I needed my outlet. And talking wasn't always helping. And so like art definitely and doing things with my hands and my body, that absolutely makes me feel like I can get emotions out and kind of feel balance again. And so I have really enjoyed, like, whether it's oil pastels on blending them with a tissue or my fingers, like, I love that sensation. And I forgot, like, there's joy in just making things. Like, I bought new paintbrushes that are super nice. And like, when I paint with them, there's like a smooth, swishy feeling that I just like, I can't get enough of right now. So I look forward to having, even if it's 15 minutes on a break from work, because I work from home too, I'll go downstairs to my art studio and I'll like paint a little and then try to wash my hands, and come back upstairs and do my computer job. And yeah, there's just that moment, like making time for it feels good to my soul. When I was caught in that cycle of like feeling guilt because I didn't do it, like I was just adding to my stress. I was
Mm-hmm.
adding emotions that I don't want in my life, basically.
Yeah,
So it's
I totally feel that. And I'm like, okay, so what, I don't quite understand like where the shift happened, but I had that too. And I'm like, duh, it was the wire experiment. Like
yeah, we both participated in that. And so just to explain, last year there was everyday email prompts to journaling about the life that you want, basically, to journaling about how our strengths, our creativity, how we can envision life growing and expanding. And those journal prompts, I might not have written everyone, but I took time to think about it. And there was a podcast that went with it too that was super inspiring. And
mhm.
Jessica Hughes, I'm going to say her name out loud. Thank you, Jessica.
Yes, thank you, Jess. You've
So
helped
it
us so
really,
much.
yeah, I think that absolutely helped me make a shift in my brain that this is important. This is valuable. It's valuable enough for Jessica to have created a prompt every day to help other people.
Mhm.
And pretty cool movement. I loved that project. Would you
Mhm.
say project? That movement. I'll say I love that movement.
Experiment, I guess.
Experiment. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
word.
yes.
Yeah, thank goodness for those shifts. Yes. This question is about discovering. So, what's an unexpected or surprising insight that your creativity has revealed about you? Like, what have you learned about yourself from your art?
Um, that my voice matters. I know that sounds like so cliche, but yeah, it always. it doesn't matter like how many people have told me, every time someone does tell me, even if they've commented 15 times, a million times before, it still like touches me like, wow, what I've made like actually resonates with someone. Like they see it in this way that I didn't think people would understand. And I mean, I feel like that's very much the human experience is like you think you're the only one with all these thoughts and feelings, and then like someone else hears it and they're like, whoa, yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. And so I I feel like I don't know that I've like learned that because it still feels new to me. I don't know. There's like an excitement about it. Like every time it doesn't get old to me, and I just love that. And like part of what I'm trying to do is to get other people to do that too, for them to feel that and experience it, because that's the coolest thing.
It absolutely is. Yeah. I have recently, so I'm learning to take compliments better. It is something I want to immediately be like, oh, da, 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 whatever. It's just what everybody does. But I've been, I've been, especially on posting on social media, a few people have said, Amber, you're just a light. Oh, Amber, you're magic, or something like that. And that's a really big compliment. That's a beautiful compliment. And I wanted to immediately dismiss it and be like, yeah, whatever. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I do try to bring the magic. I do try to bring the light. And my art helps me feel more light and helps me feel more magic. I mean, whether it's painting or dancing, like dancing definitely makes me feel magic. Like it just feels like, wow, I can do this with my body and it just feels good and it's fun and it looks good too. And yeah, there's something about it that it helps bring back that magic and it helps you discover, like, it definitely, creativity has helped me rediscover my own magic again.
Hmm.
um I want to hold on to that.
Yeah, yeah. There's something. Well, it's magical because it's like we're making something new, every time. It's like, wow, I had this thought and I put it onto paper, whether it's like writing it or painting it or whatever, and even just having a conversation. Like, whoa, we were having a new conversation about something, and this conversation has not existed before, and that its own creativity is like amazing to me when I see the world and think about it in that sense. Like, wow, it's mind blowing.
It is. And I look at it sometimes also from the perspective of being a therapist. Like creativity can be on canvases, it can be because of movement, but we are also like creating our life. And like we can let other people tell us what to do, let other people tell us who we are. But like there is a conscious shift of like taking responsibility for your own life and making changes. Like, in order to get out of depression, in order to make anxiety better, somebody has to take responsibility to think differently, try different things, maybe take a medication if it's really extreme, maybe, surround themselves with people who build them up rather than tear them down.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's creativity in my mind can be so many things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and can't get enough of it. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like you very much embrace like a creative life, which I love, and I think that's why I'm so drawn to you, because like I'm like, yes, I love that.
Yes. I'm holding on. I'm gonna be that old granny wearing crazy outfits and like having a house that's like mosaicked and stuff. That's where I'm aiming. Right.
Yes, yes. I love it.
My last question is about reconnecting and reconnecting over and over, sometimes back to our magic, back to our creativity. So the question is specifically, in a time when many people feel isolated, lonely, or disconnected, how do you use creativity, your creativity, to foster a sense of belonging, either with yourself or with others? Like, how are you doing it?
I it is a choice to create art and to share it, especially like on social media with all the, you have so many things to compete with, but I still feel like even if you don't get likes or, views, I still feel like just making the art itself is like a form of rebellion. We live in a society that prioritizes conformity and doing things a certain way, and I feel like a lot of people let that stop them from making art. So I've really embraced that whole idea of like, I'm going to do it anyway. And I don't care anymore what people say or think or whatever, you know? And I hope that even if they don't like my art, I hope that that makes them do something creative, even if it's just like to counteract whatever I just posted, you know? Like, I still feel like there's some power in that, and it's creating more. And yeah, it's making that choice and deciding I'm going to show up anyway. And I'm choosing, again, going back to like the going against perfectionism, like I'm choosing to honor my creativity over the perfectionism. It's all a choice, because I've been on the side where I've had the anxiety and depression and all that like rule my entire life, and I saw the patterns, and I took the responsibility and decided I'm not doing that no more. And so I'm making the art, don't care how it looks. It's, even if it's bad, doesn't matter. I'm making it, I'm doing it. And yeah, it's not for anything other than to fully express myself, however that may come out.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you want to talk a little bit about astral aunties and talk about like share your YouTube as well so that people can find you and connect with you?
Sure. I will send you notes. Oh, my Instagram is astral underscore anti with an IE underscore Ali. And right now I'm just posting things that I feel kind of are from the heart. I'm trying to be more open. I was definitely like a polished Instagram, like, you know, like showing you the highlights type thing. And now I'm trying to like get away from that. You know, like she was that person, but that's not who she is anymore. And, you know, like love her. Thank you for the lessons. And so I'm like learning who I am, rediscovering who I am, you know, stepping into this new version of me. And what that looks like is different than what it was in the past. So there are some things I've really like tried to think, what are the things that I would do if I had $1 million? You know, I would still be making art. I would still roller skate. I would still be cooking my own food. You know, so those are the kind of things that I share. And I just want to connect with other people who want to live like their most magical life, because that's what I'm trying to do, you know, like finding the beauty in like the mundane, you know, the everyday life, like romanticize your life, however you want to describe it. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do, is like there's so much beauty in life that sometimes we forget. We don't slow down enough to even appreciate it. And I was one of those people that I was
I
just
was one of those people too.
yes.
Yes.
I was like going at the speed of light, you know, that I missed out on a lot of things. And so now I'm slowing down. I really appreciate and savor all of the little things in life. And yeah, so the Astral Auntie community, I would love to connect with other people who feel the same way. And I always think of aunties as like these strong women who, you know, are confident in themselves. They show up in whatever, you know, flavor they are, and they give you love, and they, you know, they support you whatever part of journey you're on. And I think if there was a whole group of them together, oh my gosh, how powerful is that? Like how amazing. We can uplift each other, and you know, we shine our own lights, but together we like just create like this massive shiny, bright light that we can share with the world. And yeah, that's my whole idea behind Astral Aunties.
Yeah, we talked briefly about it before, and I shared that I didn't have any of those quirky aunts. Like my mom and dad are only children, so my mom is quirky enough for a lot of other people, but I try to be a very big personality auntie for my nieces and nephew
Mhm.
that like let them know they're loved, let them know, like, hey, let's go do this weird art thing. Hey, come to my house. We're going to do a weird art thing.
Yep.
Hey, let's play a game.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's so important. It's a very nurturing and accepting concept for a group of like women to come together and be just like spiritual, creative, cool, authentic human beings. That sounds
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
I love it. And I want to be a part of it too. So,
Yes. Coming soon. Coming soon.
well, thank you so much for your time today, Ali. I think we had a great conversation. I'm so happy.
Yeah. I know there's like some real good nuggets in here, so I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Well, I truly do wish you the best. I'm going to put links to all of your things below so that if people want to connect with you, they can. And I send you love and creative energy
Thank
to
you.
you. And
Mhm.
it's so good to talk to you. Take care, Ali.